Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's candy edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So today we are going to be making some goodies. And this year I'm kind of changing things up a little bit. Normally I do, not tons, I do quite a bit of like homemade type things like fudge and divinity. I'm just keeping an eye here on the butter that I'm melting. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Yes, Cindy. All the noises, right? Pardon me. So yesterday I had all intention of filming I Hear You, Cindy. However, the facility my mom lives at was having a Christmas bazaar real early in the morning, like 9:30. So I went in, we put up mom's little Christmas tree in her room, and mom has a best friend named Margaret who was at the Thanksgiving celebration. They're like two little peas in a pod. It's super cute. And we just had the best time. While I was going, I was kind of felt sorry for myself while I was driving there, and I thought, you know, it's just so sad that a lot of our Christmas traditions are gone. You know, we're not able to do the same things since mom is not as able, etc. And what I realized through the enjoyment of the day and the refreshments, and I did get mom a beautiful wreath for her door. Even though I'm a wreath maker, I wanted her to have something from the bazaar. I thought that she would enjoy that, and she did. You know, these are new memories, and they, to me, are priceless. So there's all my excuses for why I'm filming on Sunday for Tuesday. I can't stay ahead, guys. I'm just not very good at staying ahead, because I'm always like, ooh, I'm ahead. I don't need to think up something to do. Thank you all for your comments on the microphone. I am going to do my best not to use my expressive hands, Jane, and keep banging into it. I realized on my last video I was hitting it a lot in the first part of the video, so I'm going to try to do better today. So what are we going to be making today? Well, instead of the complex things that I often make, we're going to go old school simple this year. So I don't know if we'll get to all of these today, but here's what my plan is. I want to make some chocolate dipped pretzel rods rolled in sprinkles. Some Rolo pecan pretzels is what I call them. They're like little turtles. Cookie crunch pretzels. I like pretzels, y'all. Haystacks. What people call Christmas crack. I do not like that name. I call it Christmas toffee. Peppermint bark. And some chocolate dipped Oreos, because that's my son's favorite cookie. So what I've done so far is I've preheated my oven to 400. I'll tip you down here. And yeah, y'all, it's 6:17. I'm trying to get after it this morning. And I have melted 2 sticks of butter. We are going to be making a toffee that goes over top saltine crackers. And if y'all have never had it, it's so addictive. Like, I'll make it 2 or 3 times probably before Christmas, because not only do I like to gift it, I like to eat it, which is kind of obvious, y'all. I do like to eat. All right, so to our butter, I am going to add 1 cup of packed brown sugar and just stir that in till it dissolves. Now, you can do this in a double boiler if you're concerned about scorching. Where is my washcloth? Oh my word. Y'all, it's starting already. I have realized as a YouTuber that I have often been critical of people. I'm like, can't you get everything out before you start? It's a lot more difficult because most people's style of cooking is just to get it as you need it, or at least that's Kym's style of cooking. So anyway, and I'm starting with my hair down, but I can probably already tell you that it's going to be put back. I just would die if I got hair in anything. So what we are aiming to do here is we want to get this to come to a boil. So I have it on 7 of, let's say, 10, just to get everything kind of coming together here. And once it comes to a boil, I will turn the heat down, and then we're going to simmer it for 3 minutes. So this will make like a toffee, a caramel. One of the reasons I like this particular recipe a lot better than regular toffee is, well, number one, it's delicious, but it's not as hard on your teeth. And my mom is experiencing so many dental problems, y'all. You know, she swallowed the crown off her front tooth the week that she broke her glasses and her back. So we got that repaired. Now she has chipped, or a crown has broken, and it's all right in the front, so she's self-conscious, off of another tooth. And she completely lost another tooth kind of in the front. So I talked to the facility staff. I told them happy to take her to the dentist, but with that tooth being missing where it is, it's going to require an implant. My mom is not a candidate for an implant. She couldn't withstand all that surgery anyway, and it's not affecting her eating. And my mom's actually gained a good little bit of weight, which is a good thing. My mom was so thin, y'all. She was like, I don't know, 90 pounds maybe. And she isn't very tall. If you've seen pictures, I'm a good 6 inches taller than she is, but she was tiny, tiny, tiny little thing. So I'm super glad, because I know when my mom is eating well that she's content, and she does seem to be content. The only thing I noticed yesterday, and y'all, I'm not talking bad about my mom in any way, I just figure some of you may be going through a similar thing with your parents or grandparents. She was pretty good yesterday, but if I would walk away from her, because I like to talk to the staff while I'm there, and just, you know, get different people's opinions, see if there's anything I need to be doing differently or providing for her. She was like, where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? I could hear clear across the room, you know. All right, so since I watch Pot Never Boils, now you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it up to a boil. I am going to let it simmer, turn the heat down, let it simmer for 3 minutes, and then I'll bring it back, show you what we're going to add, and we'll get on with this Christmas toffee. Stay tuned. Our caramel toffee is finished, and you can see it's thickened up greatly. So I guess I should finish making it. First thing we're going to do is add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So this is going to be that delicious sweet salty. And we're going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. That might have been closer to 2, but it's fine. What I've done over here on a baking sheet, this is just the vanilla bubbling up, is I have placed 1 sleeve of saltine crackers on parchment paper that I sprayed with a nonstick cooking spray. Oh, guys, this looks so good. And it calls for 38 crackers. I was ripped off. I only had 37 in mine. So one person is going to be short a cracker. I'm totally joking, guys, but I did only have 37. So you just want to spread this as evenly as you can. And I didn't mention I am using a heavy gauge pan, because you don't want a real thin pan for risk of scorching. And I'm not leaving any of that goodness behind. The other thing you may notice is your sauce may appear broken. In other words, the butter looks like it's creeping out of the sauce, and it's not coming together. It will. It will once it boils. It just takes it a minute. So I'm just trying to spread this out evenly. And what we're going to do is we are going to watch this super close. I am not going to burn it. That's a note to myself. We are going to go into the oven at 400 degrees for up to 6 minutes. Now, kind of depends on your oven. I don't know. Cindy seems to work pretty fast, so I'm thinking that I may have to cut mine short. Okay, so I have everything, pretty evenly coated. You don't want bare spots on your crackers. And we'll go into the oven. I'll let you know how long it takes. I'm hoping you all can see in the oven how the toffee or caramel sauce is bubbling. And I've only had it in there for 2 minutes, so I think I'm gonna pull it at the 3-minute mark. All right, now that we're out of the oven, you want to top this with 12 ounces of chocolate chips. And I happen to have a huge bag of chocolate chips right now, so I'm gonna guesstimate my 12 ounces, but that's like one regular size bag. And we're gonna let the heat, and I do have this on a protected mat, or heat resistant mat. What am I trying to say? Whoa, you throw a little bit on the floor, maybe over your left shoulder for good luck. Oh, y'all, I don't edit that stuff out because that's reality. I just let that go by, as my daddy would say. And you just want to let the heat from that delicious toffee sauce, I don't know why I keep calling it caramel because it really is more like a toffee. You want to let that melt from the heat. So it's one less step that you have to do melting chocolate, because believe me, we're going to be melting enough chocolate today. I decided, since my mom is such a lover of chocolate, even though I'm not, maybe I'll eat less and she'll eat more. So I'm going to let this hang out for a few minutes until those chocolate chips get soft. And then I am just going to take an offset spatula. Oh, y'all, I can't show you my dirty secret. Okay, yeah, I'll show you. Well, I don't know if I can. So I have a lot of things, and it's not super well organized because I'm going to blame it on the kitchen, because the kitchen is small. Where's my offset spatula? There it is. This just makes it a little easier not to drag your hand through it. So we'll let that hang out for a few minutes. I'll spread it out. I'll show you what it looks like. And then the next thing we're going to be making, I am so excited about, is haystacks. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can make haystacks. Haystacks are made with chow mein noodles. And let me tell y'all, I had to go to 3 stores to get chow mein noodles. I'm like, wait, what? What is that all about? But I did finally find them. I think I have enough for a double batch. I'm gonna make it 1 batch at a time, just in case. I did put some hot water into the saucepan that we used for our toffee sauce, because guys, it turns to like, it's really hard to get off. I don't know, it's concrete, something like that. You may be wondering, wow, it's only December 4th. You know, it's 3 weeks. Christmas is 3 weeks from today, y'all. How are things gonna stay fresh? Well, some things will just stay fresh because you can put them in an airtight container. Some things I may vacuum seal in half-quart jars, because I have 6 of those. Some things I may freeze even if I'm going to stretch it out. But I also like giving my gift baskets before Christmas, because you know, you have people dropping in for the holidays, and sometimes it's nice to be like, oh, look at all these goodies. I did not make them. All right, these are starting to soften. Let me get back with you in just a few. Recipe number 2 couldn't be any simpler. You need a 10 to 12 ounce bag of butterscotch chips, shrinkflation, mine's 11, and about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Now, y'all, there's a million ways to make these. Some people put dry roasted peanuts in it. I'm choosing not to do that because not everyone likes nuts, but yet they don't mind the taste of peanut butter. And you can do this in a double boiler, or you can do it in the easy way, the microwave. Franklin McMeowmeister. Oh, y'all want cat? I woke up the baby. That's never good. Whenever you're heating chips of any sort, you want to go low and slow, so 30-second intervals, stir in between each. I'm gonna go rescue the cat. So here's our melted peanut butter and butterscotch chips. And I'm just going to add a package of chow mein noodles, these kind of hard noodles, which I love. Oh good, they're not stale. I was kind of worried about that. I don't know, y'all have to let me know if you're having difficulties in your area with finding certain things. I have found that the holiday supply isn't quite as plentiful as it often is, as far as baking goods, etc. I'm very thankful I have Azure and that I shopped early. All right, super simple. 2 spoons. And you just want to pile them up so they look like little haystacks. You do have to work relatively quickly. If you reheat your mixture, your chow mein noodles get pretty soft and not as pleasant. So, okay, can we stop being so fussy? So far, what do you think? How easy is this, right? Okay, let me dip these out right quick. I'll bring you right back. So just that quickly, we have 2 holiday treats made. I did put a few little sprinkles on the haystacks just to, you know, festive them up a little bit. I'm going to put these in the dining room behind the cat gate just in case a stray cat here flies by. Frankie was like, I need to get up there, Mom. So I had to get extremely stern with him. Then the chickens started balking, so I had to get them up and out and fed and watered. But we're all good. On to the next treat. The next treat that we're going to be making is called peppermint bark. Peppermint is one of my absolute favorite flavors at the holiday time. And even though I'm not a huge chocolate fan, I do like white chocolate. So this is super simple. You need a bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips, a bag of white chocolate chips or pure white chocolate, half a teaspoon of peppermint. I might go a little slight on that because too much peppermint will ruin whatever you're making. And then some crushed candy canes, or I know you can buy some peppermint baking chips or like crushed up peppermint chip things. I've never done that, so I can't speak to it. So easy, y'all. Now this takes a little bit of time only because you have to let the layers set in between. So I'm going to dump the rest of my 24-ounce bag, so 12 ounces of chocolate chips in here. It is always very important that you don't get water in your chocolate. I'm sure y'all know that. So just make sure that if you're washing, like I am, over and over different bowls, that they're extremely dry. It's hard to come back from it if you get water in it. If your chocolate gets too thick, never add water, add coconut oil. So I do have some emergency cocoa oil on the counter. So I'm going to melt these without the peppermint extract at first, just as I've done with the butterscotch chips, 30 seconds or so at a time, stirring in between. Chocolate is nicely melted. And y'all, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint instead of a half. I would rather have a hint of peppermint than feel like I just ate a Hall's mentholyptus or eucalyptus or whatever they're called. You know, cough drop. The very first time I ever used mint extract, I thought it was like vanilla extract. Or it's better. Yeah, no. And I ruined whatever it was I was making. So you want to give this a really good stir. And then over here, I have a baking sheet that I have lined with wax paper. And I've also sprayed that with a little bit of nonstick cooking spray just because I've found it comes out better. Now I'm going to attempt to pour this and then square it off. So I'm kind of aiming for the middle of the sheet. Lots of spatula action today. And if you're more of a fan of the chocolate than the white chocolate, you could certainly vary the thickness of your layers. It's not critical. Just do it how you like it. All right. So you have to kind of hold on to that sheet. Sometimes it's easier if you just barely wet your cookie sheet before you put down your wax paper. You won't have as much sliding, but you can also just hold it. This is going to make a pretty good amount of the bark. It's pretty thick, and when I actually cut this, I will cut it into small pieces. It doesn't have to be huge pieces to be satisfying. I don't want to overwhelm people with, you know, a diabetic coma. I'm not diabetic, but I do gift a lot to my older friends and neighbors that, you know, may have some blood sugar challenges. Now, I have washed my hands very, very well. And I'm doing my best, guys, not to taste or lick bowls because I will be on a sugar high by lunchtime if I do that. Oops. I can't leave it alone, can I? And you can certainly just break this up like a bark, so it doesn't have to be perfectly square. I just think it's easier to get your chocolate proportions even if you spread it in a square. Alrighty. I'm gonna call that good. Get this chocolate off my hand and not with my mouth. Y'all, how's your weather? It is a whopping, well, maybe even colder now. It was 17 degrees when I got up, so yeah, really cold. You dry my hands here. So you can put this in the freezer to firm it up. You can stick it in the fridge. I could stick it outside, but I don't, you know, want any animals to get into it or bugs or whatsoever. Probably no bugs this time of year. But anyway, I'm gonna let this chill before we make our second layer. So I'm gonna take a little break. Y'all, my back is still bad and I apologize. I know I don't stand up straight. I can't help it right now. So pray for me. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. While our chocolate, excuse me, is setting up, and y'all drop me a comment below. Since I'm trying not to bang into the microphone, is it better? I surely hope so. So I want to make some pretzel treats. So I personally like the sweet and a little bit salty combo. I think it's delicious. I looked everywhere, like, what is up with pretzel problems too, y'all? I wanted the little square mini pretzels, but all I could find was the twists. And I'm going to show you what I've laid out here. And I still have this many pretzels left. But pretzels can make a really good crust for certain kinds of cheesecake, even certain pie for a bottom crust. So yeah, it'll get used. I may have to freeze them because I've got all these pretzels. The other thing I could not find, and excuse me for stepping off screen, when we're going to work on these, are the pretzel rods. I don't like buying them in the bag because they always end up like all broken, you know, kind of a thing. So I found those at Aldi. And I am finding, y'all, I was complaining about the price of cream cheese. Aldi had cream cheese for $1.39 in my area. So I bought a couple extras, and I do freeze cream cheese. It's okay. It's not like fresh, but I would rather have some cream cheese than no cream cheese. So I don't know why, but Aldi seems to have gotten like a whole bunch of stuff. And let me share one other thing they have with you, just in case you're looking for like a really good treat to put in a gift basket. The brand is called Winternacht. I think they're, yeah, product of Germany, distributed and sold exclusively by Aldi. It has the Santa. Okay, I've eaten a few of these. I actually had gotten this for my son and I had to go buy him another one because I ate so many of them. But they're little ornaments. The chocolate, it's milk chocolate, is so creamy and so good. And it's like $3.29, but it's a great big Santa, you know. He's probably 8, 9 inches tall. So gift idea. Oops. that's Cindy. She's letting me know that the oven is preheated. So what are we making? Well, I've taken the little mini pretzels, whether you have the squares or the what they call the twists. And on one tray, I have Rolos. Oh, look here, Rolo Pretzel Delights in, yeah, I thought so. So I had looked this message up, or this recipe up. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I figured you were hot. Anyway, I was seeing 350 and I'm like, that's going to fry them. I'm so sorry about the message or the sing song. But what you do is you put a Rolo on top of each pretzel. You stick it in the oven. This says for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to turn the light on and I'm going to stand there. Then when it comes out, we're going to take a pecan half and smash it. So it's like a little pretzel turtle. I am going to do these separately. I had a little bit more of the Hershey Kisses than I did the Rolos. These are sugar cookie kisses. So it's like a white chocolate, sugar, vegetable oil, skim milk, corn syrup. Yeah, so not good for you. But I saw somebody make this on YouTube, and y'all, I didn't write it down. But they're pink and green. And when they melt, then you can smash like an M&M, or I have some bigger sprinkly things if I run out of M&Ms, because I don't know, I might have eaten some of the M&Ms too. And you just smash that in the middle, and it, when it spreads out, it's like pink and green swirled. So since our oven is ready, I'm going to pop these in, throw on the, well, not throw on, put on the pecans. Oh my word. And then I will do the same for the sugar cookie kisses, and I'll bring you back to show you how pretty they are. And they're so simple, guys. And I do have, believe it or not, this is a silicone baking mat, as is this. This one is Amazon Basics. This one is Aldi brand. Y'all, I want to apologize. For some reason, the audio for these next few segments did not turn out. So I am going to have to voice over here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the chilled dark chocolate or milk chocolate, if you will, and I'm going to cover that chilled chocolate with melted white chocolate. And I did experience a problem with this, so I just wanted to highlight this, and you'll see as I go along. What happens is that warm white chocolate has a tendency to melt the darker chocolate. So I pooled it all in the middle, which probably wasn't real smart because it caused the middle of the dark chocolate to get a little soft because of the heat. So I started spreading without any real problem, but as I went along, you'll see I'll start to drag up the top of the darker chocolate into the white chocolate. Now I did manage to cover the dark chocolate streaks, if you will. Not that it would affect the final taste, it more affected the look. So if you're doing this at home, what I would do, yep, see there I'm messing up the chocolate. I would spread the white chocolate out in rows rather than to just pool it all in the middle. I had planned on melting some more white chocolate to cover up the dark chocolate streaks, but in actuality, I was able just to smooth it out until it was acceptable to me. Of course, I don't want to waste any of those little good bites. I'm just going to forget and lick my finger, and then I'm like, oh no, I need to wipe off my finger. And I had crushed up 7 candy canes. And let me tell you all, these things were shrink wrapped and they were a nightmare to get open. So at different points in time when I was spreading it, I was finding little pieces of the plastic the candy cane was wrapped in, which I just discarded. Again, I probably should have ground those a little bit finer. I just used like a rolling pin to crush them up. There I'm picking out some plastic, flipping some on the floor. And I noticed when editing that, yes, I had chocolate on my sweater, but it'll wash, no worries. So just spread your candy canes on top equally till it's pleasing to you. And then you do want to re-chill this entire block of peppermint bark until it's firm. I would also suggest you might want to freeze your bottom layer. That might help you with the melting that you experience when you add on the warm white chocolate. So there you have it. I use my hands too much. I also noticed that my candy kisses did not make the swirls that the YouTube video did that I had watched, but let me tell you all, those are so super delicious and they have little crunchy bites of sugar cookie in them. So I did put an M&M on top. I found it was easier to place it vertically versus horizontally just to keep your fingers out of the melted chocolate. And I'm not so picky that I use tweezers to do it. I just use my hands. Over here we have the still very soft Rolo pretzels or turtle pretzels. And let me tell you all, those are absolutely delicious. Very much worth the time of all the unwrapping. Moving on to our next project, I am going to be using almond bark. Now I purchased both the white and the dark from Aldi. And the almond bark melts really nice. You could use chocolate chips. You could use the melting wafers as well. I've done this a number of ways, but I have found the easiest is to use a 2-cup measuring cup. And you could use a spatula, a spoon, but I find a fork works really well. I don't put the chocolate all the way up the pretzel because you need like the dry part to hold on to, otherwise the chocolate melts in your hand. So I coat them, and then I'm going to add the sprinkles. So I have a big bowl over here to catch the extra sprinkles so that I can continue to recycle them and I won't use quite so many. The funny thing that y'all didn't see or won't see on this video is these little balls just bounced everywhere. And Frankie was like, oh, Mom, this is so much fun. Is that a toy for me? So he enjoyed the pretzel making activities. I was able to use a 1 pound 8-ounce block. I used half of it for all of these white coated pretzels, and I was also able to get a dozen white coated Oreos. So that was 12 ounces. So I ended up having half of both packages left, so I can do a second batch. I have never frozen almond bark, but you could probably do that as well. And I'm just placing them off screen onto a sheet, like a cookie sheet covered in wax paper. And why I'm showing you this so many times and what I'm talking about, I don't remember, y'all. I guess I just talk too much. It is helpful if you let the chocolate drain off the pretzel pretty well before you start adding the sprinkles. Otherwise, the chocolate drips into your sprinkle catching bowl and you can't reuse it. And y'all, when I cleaned up the kitchen, I cleaned up so much chocolate. I must have flung it everywhere, but it was so fun and so worth it. I'm moving on to the Oreo cookies, and these are the holiday Oreos that have the red icing in the center. And again, guys, I know these aren't healthy treats, but they are treats and they are used in moderation. And I don't eat a lot of this, I gift most of it, but this is absolutely my son's favorite. Now, you can use a chocolate dipping spoon, which helps you not to have marks on the bottom of your Oreos. These are handmade, homemade. I don't care about that. So I just drop the cookie into the 2-cup measuring cup that has the chocolate in it. I flip it over once, slide a fork underneath it, then let it drain off. And I placed mine onto a wax paper coated cooling rack, which you can't see, it's off screen. And I would do a few, and while that chocolate was still wet, then I decided to add some sprinkles on top. I tried just colored sugar. I did not like the looks of it personally, and also the colored sugar will bleed a bit into the warm chocolate, the white chocolate anyway. So I like the look of the sprinkles much, much better. And if y'all haven't looked at prices of like Williams-Sonoma and the different places that make these holiday treats, the chocolate-covered Oreos are unbelievably expensive. So this is definitely an economical way to have those treats without spending all of the money. Now, I did have some chocolate left over. So what I'm telling you here is you can place that leftover melted chocolate into. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being so faithful to watch my videos. Y'all, we're up to 3,602 subscribers. So welcome to everyone who's new. I just want to share what we've done today. But before I do that, I did want to say a couple things. And that is, while I've really been focusing on gifts from kitchen, for me, oops, I'm smacking my microphone. For me, the greatest gift that anyone can give me is the gift of their time and making memories together. So if you're not feeling able to gift material things, I think most people will appreciate your time and any memories you create together. So, y'all, I'm tired. That was a lot. That was a lot of dishwashing. I got dish pan hands now. Oh, and here's a funny. Y'all have to hear this. So in the middle of all this, my neighbor that lives behind me, the front of their house faces the back of mine, country living. And she was like, is there any reason, sorry, is there any reason smoke's coming out of your second story? And I'm like, oh no, is the house on fire? Well, I have a gas water heater and it's on the first floor. So it has a booster fan that vents out the second floor. And because it is so cold today, and I've washed so many dishes, actually the water heater's run a couple times. So, I scared the neighbors. My house was burning down. I worked so hard. But I am so tickled, so pleased with how everything came out. And y'all, I'm sitting on a little tiny chair because my back has had it. So let's see if I can do this maybe like this. So here are our white almond bark or vanilla almond bark pretzels. So I did put some sprinkles. Then I took the leftover chocolate and cut a little tip off of just a Ziploc bag and squeezed it over. Guys, those are as pretty as you will find in any gift basket from companies that do that. Y'all, I can't do this sitting down. I was afraid of that. All right, we'll just stand up. I love the way the chocolates look. Aren't they cute? And I have to tell you, when I started with the sprinkles, the balls, they go everywhere. I'll probably be finding them like in June. It's kind of like glitter. And they were hitting the floor, and Frankie got so excited. He doesn't like people food, but he was like, is that for me, Mom? He was running around trying to catch the little balls. Totally funny. I think the prettiest thing are these gorgeous Oreos. So there is a special chocolate dipping tool that will keep you from getting what's called a foot at the bottom. That's just more goodness of chocolate. I used some of the sprinkles from my cocoa bar. I did some white and some chocolate, and I ended up with 2 dozen and a half about, and 2 dozen of the pretzels, and I only used half of that almond bark. Very economical, but a delicious treat. Our haystacks with our sprinkles. Oh, those smell really good. Our turtle pretzels. Now, I have not cut this. Our Christmas toffee. Our sugar cookie Hershey Kiss pretzels with an M&M. I'm going to have to come up with a name for that. Sugar cookie pretzels. And then our beautiful peppermint bark. So it took me 5 hours. Kitchen is all cleaned up, i.e. the dishpan hands. So I'm going to make sure everything is good and chilled out and ready to be stored before I try to package it away. And then I am going to relax, and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. I am definitely a morning person. If you've enjoyed today's video, could you please do me a big favor? Go ahead and smash that like button. If you know someone who's looking for some easy, shortcut kind of Christmas treats, please share my video. It really helps my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. I will see you all a little later this week, but until then, you know what to do. Be healthy, be well, be blessed. Take care.